Hey guys, so in recent years, maybe in the past 20, 30 years, a lot of people are getting upset by what they perceived as kind of a changing or alteration of history being done by changing races of characters. And a lot of this isn't even really historical, it's being done in fantasy worlds that are clearly inspired by actual times in history. For example, you have Bridgerton, which is a fantasy world, and then you have you have the Lord of the Rings show, which they insert black characters. Even the Lord of the Rings is that fantasy realm is clearly inspired by a certain period in time in Europe, right? But this isn't really anything new. For decades, the most popular genre in movie and television were westerns, and if you watch westerns, 99% of cowboys were depicted as white, even though in reality 25 to 50% of cowboys were Mexican and black. And in fact, a lot of the words that we associate with cowboys, rodeo, lasso, vamonos, these are Spanish loanwords. It wasn't like a bunch of Anglos moved out west and randomly decided to speak Spanish. They got those words from the original cowboys who were Mexican. And if you may say, well, that's decades ago. Well, even now, it's not done in the same way, but it's still done. The insertion of white characters in the stories just for the heck of it. You have the movie 21, which was based on true events of Asian students who were counting cards in blackjack. You made the movie, you made them all white. You have the movie Hidden Figures, where it's a story of black women who were mathematicians for NASA, and you insert Kevin Costner's character where he breaks segregation. He rips down that sign, and that event and that person never existed. I can go on and on with this. So this isn't really anything new. The question is why are people getting upset with it now, and what's the purpose of it? So there's one thing for people to want to have kind of a fantasy where they want to see themselves represent. They like this period of time. They kind of like to see themselves. And it's another thing where it's done for a different reason. I don't really feel strongly one way or the other. I think when it comes to fantasy, you can. I think that we should follow what we do in comic books, but even with comic books, people are getting in their feelings. Now, let me express this. Let's think about Batman, right? Now, if you were to make a black Batman, people would lose their collective shit over it. Now, I don't really care to make a black Batman, but let's really look at Batman. And we look at Batman, we have different iterations of Batman. We have Batman as the detective, we have Batman as the rough and tumble crime fighter. But we have these different depictions. We have the Tim Burton Batman, we have the Christopher Nolan Batman, we have the Joel Schumacher Batman, we even have the old Adam West Batman. But that doesn't take away from Batman. So when you have these fantasy worlds, it's okay to have fun with it. I mean, you can have some things where race or gender is explicitly tied to it, but sometimes it just isn't. Not everything is a huge controversy. For example, the Spawn movie came out years ago, and you had, I believe his actor's name is W.B. Sweeney. He's a white character in the movie, or he's white in the movie, and the character in the comic book is black. And he did a great job with it. Now, not everybody gets upset with this because, even though there was a little pushback, you had Michael Clark Duncan play Kingpin in the original Daredevil movie, and then you had Vincent D'Onofrio play it in the series. And I like Vincent D'Onofrio, and I like his depiction of Kingpin a little more. But they're very different characters. There's the vibrato, and there's the swag that Michael Clark Duncan brought. But then there's that kind of simmering quietness that Vincent D'Onofrio brought. And I think a lot of people, I think most people prefer Vincent D'Onofrio's like mine, but they don't dismiss the Michael Clark Duncan. So there really are things where we're trying to change history, as I made a video about where we're trying to whitewash history. But this isn't the case. This is just people having fun with the fantasy that they like. And if it upsets you that much, then why aren't you getting upset about, or why weren't you getting upset about the Westerns? Why aren't you getting upset when we change actual history, when we insert Robert De Niro's character in The Men of Honor, when we make the FBI agents in the heat of the night seem like they're noble when, for the most part, the government sat back and let lynchings occur to blacks? That's not the thing that people were getting upset by. They're getting upset with the Little Mermaid being black. And if you really want to care, if you're really upset about the Little Mermaid and you say, that's not my Little Mermaid, well, what if you read the original Hans Christian Andersen story and they changed the Little Mermaid completely, or like they changed all the Disney virtually all the Disney fairy tales. You didn't get upset then, but when you change the skin color, that's when you get upset. And that's, I don't know, woke agenda. I don't know. Let's have an agenda to like get healthcare. Let's have an agenda to fix the environment. Let's worry about those things. Let's have an agenda to just be decent to each other and not try to find reasons just to be upset over shit that doesn't really matter anyway. Thank you.